Hi everybody, Mickey here, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. So this video, it's about 24 minutes. So to be honest with you, me and Kaz, our little breakaway in Cornwall was about my health. It was about sorting myself out. So it was a quick trip down there, a quick look around, a quick video. And all we wanted to do was maybe give you guys some glimpses, show some of the guys in the UK what we're going to be, where we're going to be going, or some of the areas we're going to be going next year, and exploring and see if it tickles your taste buds. Maybe you want to come along. Maybe you might want to meet up with us down there. So now, this video is really just about a bit of a road trip that day to two of my favourite places in North Cornwall. And again, both of those I intend to visit next year, do a bit of wild camping and a bit more in-depth exploring and probably some better videos. But please enjoy. Both have got a great history. Both are fascinating places, and that is Roughtor up on Bodmin, and the other one is Davidstow Moor. Now, Davidstow Moor has a fantastic history with the military. USAF and UK Bomber Command and Atlantic Command were both based there during the Second World War. It was used as a transit location, so a lot of American heavy bombers that flew across the Atlantic would have been their first landfall. And there are many stories down there which we will tell you in another video of how aircraft just made it in. They literally flew in with nothing on board other than extra fuel. They came in light, and would then quite often be armed at Davidstow Moor, i.e. guns put in and so on, so that they could then fly out to other stations and go on to operations. There are a couple of sad stories there, and when we visit Roughtor, we will be visiting a memorial up there to the guys that were lost in the fog. Because again, this is high moors, very close to the fog, very close to the coast, I should say, and it can get really foggy. And back in a time when we didn't have the technology for gliding aircraft in, it must have taken some real bravery to fly an aircraft and come in there in terrible conditions, hardly any fuel left, literally you and your crew praying. It's quite an emotional place for me there, but it does have some fascinating stories. Anyhow, I'll get on with the video. Hope you enjoy, guys. Mickey out. So here we are. We're on the north side of the moor now, and we are heading towards one of my favourite places in the world. Gorgeous spot.
Many years ago, I managed to. I used to walk it.
Yeah, you used to charge up and down it like a mad thing. I'm coming out here next year for a bit of an adventure. If anybody wants to join me, not everybody's cup of tea. We get that.
Mac, you know it well.
Quite bleak. Mac knows it well. My sons know it really well. And anybody that's local probably knows it well. Now this is Roughtor. It's actually spelt Roughtor, but in the local dialect it's pronounced Roughtor. Let's let him come through. As we were saying earlier on, be nice with the passing places. Don't be in too much of a hurry. It's like driving in the Highlands of Scotland. You know, you do the right thing.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Got good light today, haven't we?
Yeah. That hawthorn was completely covered in berries. So.
Beautiful.
Hello, sheep. There's one of those, like the wild goat sheep. Sorry, wild sheep. There's one in there because they out in these moors they buy all the odds and ends, don't they?
Yeah, a lot of the farms will buy the odds and ends.
You see how far it is to walk by the little tiny people.
Right, you can see rings out there on the hillside. It's an Iron Age settlement. There's also an ancient settlement at the top of the hill.
And there's a stone ring on our right.
Yeah. just going to set my
It's a plantation now.
suspension to up. Just a word of warning to those of you that might be driving standard vehicles. Watch your old height in here. We have come in here before now and found people with their sumps ripped out, as you can see. At certain times of the year, it is a really popular place. Well, it's funny how the van's just... what I'm going to do was I'm not going to stop it for a minute or two, so... So yeah, what we can see there is Roughtor. You can see that's where the memorial is up there, Arthur's Seat. You've got the stone ring there, and then the down comes across. And the other side of that, you've got Brown Willie, Cat's Hole, and so on. Really worthwhile exploring. Beautiful place. It can be quite desolate, quite windblown as well. Very, very open to the environment, but well worth a visit. Yeah, well worth a visit. So that's just a little look at my favourite place in the world, and hopefully some of you can join me next year for a bit of a wander around the moors. Yeah,
and can catch you out because things are, aren't they?
So we're just coming out to Davidstow Moor now. So you'll see there's lots of dispersal points around here left over from the Second World War. There's also the original runway, the control tower. During the Second World War, this whole area was one huge air base that was used to defend us from the threat of German submarines. So we're parked right now in one of the dispersal bays, and we're going to pull out into the rest of Davidstow Moor.
To
my left is one of the old air raid shelters, and this would have been part of the airfield. You can see the old tarmac and how wide it was. So this was mostly bombers that were out here for the protection of the Atlantic shipping, and also was one of the transit points for American aircraft that had come across the Atlantic into Britain. It is massive, absolutely huge, and a lot of the original sort of runways, infrastructure and dispersal areas have just been left to nature. So they're still there in a lot of places, and you still see the evidence. We're going to drive out onto the main runway in a moment, and we're going to go up to where they used to arm the aircraft. So, as you can see, we've got the concrete slabs here, which used to lead out to the dispersal areas, and you've still got the remains of some of the old buildings still out here. I'm not going to drive up too far, purely simply because people are working up there. I think the farmer's sorting his sheep out, his cattle out. There we go. Look like somebody's up to no good. And like I say, you can see the remains of the old buildings all over the place here. The museum's actually restored the original officers' mess to its original condition, and the huge factory you see out in front of me, that is actually Davidstow Moor. That's Davidstow cheese. So for those of you in the UK that like your
Davidstow and your Cathedral City
and your Davidstow cheddar, yeah, that's where it comes from. So
the Cornish crackler is the one that you like a strong cheese. Yeah.
So there's an interesting structure down here to our left, which I'm going to pull over and show you.
I'll get some pictures of it from
And Kaz is going to get some photos of as well.
Okay, whoa, there.
So, directly in front of the camera, over there, you can see a couple of structures. Now, the one nearest us was an ammunition bunker, and the furthest one away was a test centre for the guns. So basically, that brick wall you see there would have had a huge sandbank built into the front of it, and they would have brought the aircraft down, sat the aircraft about 30 yards from it, and tested the guns. And what they were looking for is how accurate and how reliable the guns were. So if they've been serviced, they've been checked over, been cleaned, that's where they could do an accurate test fire, check the accuracy and the dispersion. So you can see the basically that is the bullet catcher, the bullet stop. Now the interesting thing is it's actually sloping downhill, the ground here, as you can see. So the aircraft's firing down into that, and anything that might miss that, you might notice that it drops into a valley, so you've got to climb on the other side with nothing in the way. The idea being any rounds that did clear that, miss it by accident and so on, are captured by the valley. It's basically just a safe backstop.
I've lost it around, so I can't really see it. That's better.
Right, there we go. Take a right here. That in front of us is the old runway, which when not in use, and it is used still for aircraft today, local light aircraft and that, and also some hobby clubs. When it's not in use, you are in actual fact allowed to drive up and down it. So we might go and have a look if we get the chance.
I don't think there's...
What we'll do, we'll drive up to the armament base first of all. So we're actually paralleling the runway at the moment. Get over, get over, get over. There you go.
Get your bloody dog on the lead. So got the melon bar out where the sheep are.
Seems to be everybody and their aunties out today, so last decent bit of weather, I suppose. Got to watch the sheep round here because they do have a habit of suddenly getting a bit skitty and flying out into the road. See, this area is quite popular these days with the van lifers. A lot of them like to come out and sort of set themselves up over here. It's quiet, it's out of the way. So over here to the left you can see the buildings. These buildings were all the armaments area. So this is basically where ammunition, bombs and all the rest of it was kept. In front of me, way up in the distance, you can see some ridges. There we go. Kaz is going to get some lovely photographs there. And here we have some of the bays where somebody's done the disgusting thing of fly tipping from the looks of it.
Maybe they're filling the holes in.
Or maybe it's debris or material filling the holes in, but that lot with all the dirt in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have the dispersal bays, and as you can see we have Roughtor in the distance, Brown Willie, highest point there, and in actual fact if I come and stand up on here, do excuse the wind. So as you can see we've got Crowdy Reservoir there, coming across, we've got Roughtor there, Brown Willie there, the Atlantic is that way. And there's the old dispersal area, or the old areas. In fact, I'm pretty sure these were stores areas. These were areas that equipment was dumped in. You can see the earthwork is quite protective. There's barriers, and there's a whole ring of these come all the way round. So there's been fueling areas and so on. And unfortunately, as we find everywhere, some filthy, scummy swine has left their crap here. But that happens. We're looking back down the airfield now. We've got the runway in the distance there. Control tower you can just make out in the distance. That would have been one runway. There would have been another runway running this way. Hopefully that comes out right. And again, got to be a bit careful driving on these runways. It is rough ground. The other thing is there can be metal spikes, all sorts of debris
we just
laying
did a
around.
burnt out caravan. Yeah. I mean, what's left of it.
So.
It's the main runway, isn't it?
Yeah. Which unfortunately somebody's been fly tipping on. So this is the main runway. I've got to be very careful here where the concrete is breaking up, steel wires are starting to poke through in places, and I really don't want a puncher, so I'm not going to drive the whole length of the runway, but it's nice to get you onto the runway, at least a bit of history. Imagine the aircraft and that came in here. Right, I'm going to circle round now, get off of this before I do get myself a puncher, which is something I really don't want to do. Old concrete, I mean, you think that's a bit of concrete's been down 80 odd years. It would have been laid down in slabs in a hurry. Get onto the better surface here, so we get ourselves round to the control tower. And as you can see, the horses and the sheeps
Make use of the
old buildings and that. They shelter in them, they're not daft. And again, these, you see lots of ponies around here. They're moor ponies. They live wild, free, out on the moorland. They're rounded up once a year, checked over, veterinary checks and that, and at the end of the day then released back to live a natural life on the moor. And they are cared for. People think, oh, they're just abandoned. They're not. They are cared for. People, they're the rangers, the locals and that keep an eye on them. and if there's one that looks ill, they start looking like they've got a problem, then they obviously are treated by vets and cared for. But as much as possible, they live a natural life. They're out here in their herd enjoying themselves, living the life of a horse. Always a bit sad out here, and the fact that this has such a history and gets disrespected by so many people. The control tower here is covered in graffiti. I don't get me wrong, I don't mind graffiti when it's done from an art point of view, but just whapping your name onto something with such historical significance is a little bit disrespectful in my book. I mean, the stories that this control tower alone could tell are immense, and I'm gonna have a wander up to it and see if I can still get up inside it. Used to be able to. No worries. Little one's enjoying himself in his buggy.
So, decent.
So, this is what remains of the old control tower. Like I say, graffiti. Sheep have taken it over now. They tend to use it as shelter in the winter or when the storms blow in really, really bad. I see people have tried to demolish windows and things. With offices at its time. And the story of so many servicemen, both British, Cornish, American, that worked out of here, defence of our realm during the Second World War. I'll watch my step a little bit coming up here, because as you can imagine, you've got to be a bit careful. Yeah. And this would have been the important operational section of the control tower. So this is where the business would have happened. This would have been the important bit. People would have sat in here on the radios, listening for aircraft coming in and out, marshalling them on the runway. So down there we have the remains of the actual camp itself, officers' quarters, officers' mess and so on. And the runway runs through there. Out in the distance there you've got a brown woolly Roughtor. I may be lucky from up here. No, you can't really see here. So when we look out through the back of this, just beyond this ridge line that you see on the horizon, there we have the Atlantic, and on a clear day you could actually see the sea. Down there we have the lovely Cass, and yeah, so here I am in the control tower at Davidstow Moor. Yeah, bless them all, eh? Bless them all. And if I get a chance one afternoon, I'll do a video. I'll tell a bit more of the story of Davidstow Moor, and bring you along for the journey. watch that, mate. So we'll drive down towards the other end, down past the museum, and that won't pop into the museum today. That can be an adventure for next year, I think. We'll do an in-depth. If those of you that would like an in-depth, we will.
After all, really what we come down here for is a rest.
Yeah, we can do it for us.
Although we have done an adventure today.
Yeah, so it's more about getting out today. You can't come down without having a look round, so we thought we'd go for a little drive round, drag you guys along with us, make a little bit of a tour of it, give you a taster of my favourite place in the world, and have a think about this. And it's also a bit of a recce run, really, this, thinking about things that we might do for next year. We're going to drop out onto the Atlantic Highway, take a left, go back through Camelford, and back out to Bodmin, get something for tea, and set up for tonight's live stream, and catch you all later.
I'll get close to this.
There you go, guys. I hope you like my very amateur attempt at giving you a little bit of an insight. Sorry we didn't I wasn't able to actually get out at Roughtor and wander up the car park. Everybody parked like idiots, and basically that one little space that we got into meant we were blocking two other people, so I couldn't really I didn't want to get out, walk away from the vehicle down to the river and get better angles than that, just in case some idiot comes back and starts moaning. You block him in. However, it happens, but hopefully it's given you a little bit of a taste. And those of you that may fancy going down to Cornwall and having to explore yourself, yes, the places on this video were Roughtor, spelt Roughtor, on Bodmin. Beautiful. I really will say, absolutely worth the climb up there, but do be prepared for weather changes. It can get really rough, okay, and it can come in fast. And Davidstow Moor. Well, Davidstow Moor is only about 3.5, 4 miles from the Roughtor car park. It's all in the same location, so it makes an absolutely epic day out. You're just off the Atlantic Highway. If you go over the Atlantic Highway, you're literally just a couple of miles from Tintagel, so you've got somewhere to explore on the coast. It makes a fantastic area for exploration, getting out, getting away and enjoying things. My favourite times for being there are obviously outside the holiday season. Yeah, the weather can be a little bit more rough, but it can make it a little bit more fun. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Love those you do, forgive those you don't, and as always, may peace and light be upon you all. This is Mickey, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Have a great day.